Hey, everybody. You are joining in on the virtual Read to Achieve. I am your host, John Root. I'm the in-arena host for the Santa Cruz Warriors. And we're going to have a bunch of people jumping in right now, I'm sure. But I'm so excited about this. This is a lot of fun. You're joining me in my little reading space. I put this together here. I got a little Santa Cruz Warrior stuff going on. I hope you guys have some Santa Cruz Warrior stuff in your room too. But this virtual Read to Achieve is presented by Kaiser Permanente, and they are happy to support this virtual event. And a huge shout out to our friends over at Ring Central, because this wouldn't be possible without them at all. But I'm going to be reading 3 of my favorite books of all time. Some of these books I haven't read since I was a little kid, so I'm really excited about that. And then I'm going to ask you some questions as well. And if you have some questions for me while we're reading some of these books, you can put that in the Q&A section at the very bottom of your video. It's right in the middle. You'll see it should probably say participants and then Q&A. So once again, too, if you're jumping in, this is the virtual Read to Achieve. I am John Root, and we're going to get started right after I tell you what we're reading. So we got some of my favorite books. Salt in His Shoes. This is all about Michael Jordan, a fun little story from his childhood, written by his mom and his sister. And then right after that, this is a book I seriously haven't read in so long. I think it's been decades, but one of my favorites, The Rainbow Fish. And then we're going to finish out strong with the classic Cat in the Hat. So once again, too, if you have any questions at all, you can put that in the Q&A. And we are going to start strong with Salt in His Shoes. So Salt in the Shoes, it's a Michael Jordan in Pursuit of a Dream. So this is by Dolores Jordan and Rosalind M. Jordan. And you're going to love some of these illustrations by Kadir Nelson. It is amazing. There's the first one there for you. And then look at MJ. Look at already as a youngin' getting up his airness. All right. Michael loved to play basketball. Every Saturday, he followed his older brothers Larry and Ronnie to the park, hoping they would let him play. I definitely miss playing at the park. I'll tell you that right now. We're all stuck in our houses, so we get to live vicariously through little Michael Jordan right now. And if one of the guys who usually played with them didn't show, they always let him play. But there was one problem. His name was Mark. He was the tallest boy on the court. There's Mark. He's a big boy. What's the matter, Mikey? Too short? Mark flapped his arms in Michael's face. Over here, shouted Larry. But when Michael threw the ball, Mark's long arms came out of nowhere and knocked the ball away. It flew into the hands of the player on Mark's team, and he made the basket. And the game was over just like that. You got to feel bad for Michael, but look at this. He's got big supportive brothers. I'm really sorry, guys. If I were taller, this wouldn't have happened. All the way home, Michael apologized, even though no one was mad at him. His oldest brother, Ronnie, tried to cheer him up. Look, little brother, you played good today. Don't worry, we'll win next time. You know what? I have an older brother, and I've tried playing with him all the time, and he was very encouraging too. You need that. So obviously Michael's got some great bros. So now he's at his house. There's his mom. When they got home, Michael went to the kitchen where Mama was cooking dinner. He was still disappointed, and she could tell. You guys lost again, huh? And Michael nodded. He sat quietly for a minute, then said, Mama, how can I grow taller? To be honest, that is a question I ask my mom all the time, but she did not give me this answer that Michael's mom's about to give him. Now, Mama knew the answer to a lot of questions, but this was a tough one. She thought for a moment as she sprinkled salt and pepper on the chicken she was making for dinner. Then she smiled, looked at Michael, and said, Salt. Salt? Michael looked at his mama. Salt in your shoes. Well, put salt in your shoes and say a prayer every night. Before you know it, you'll be taller, she replied. I would be a little skeptical too, because salt, that's good on the chicken, but in my shoes, I don't know about that. But I did have some stinky shoes when I was growing up, so maybe that would have helped the smell too. Salt in my shoes? Michael said quietly to himself. Surely Mama was teasing. He sat staring out the window, trying to figure out how salt was going to help him grow. And there's Michael looking out the window right there at the rose bushes. He noticed the rose bushes outside in Mama's garden. They had grown high along the fence, and roses of all colors were blooming on the vines. He thought to himself, I remember when Mama first planted those bushes. Michael's face lit up. If Mama knows how to make those bushes grow taller, then maybe she's right. Maybe salt in my shoes really will help me grow. And once again, too, if you have any questions about any of this, there's a Q&A section at the bottom, and I always got some questions right after we finish reading some of these books. And if you're just joining us, you're jumping about halfway through Salt in the Shoes. So I hope get you caught up a little bit. Growing more excited, Michael twirled around and started asking lots of questions. Mama, how long will it take? How tall do you think I'll get? Smiling, Mama sat down next to him and explained, in order for this to work, the most important things you have to do is be patient and listen to what I tell you, and say your prayers every night. Listen carefully, Michael shook his head. Okay, Mama, I'll be patient, but what does saying my prayers have to do with it? Well, Mama's got something good for him right here. Everything, she replied, and she hugged him. Now go, wash up, and tell your brothers and sisters to get ready for dinner. Michael dashed out of the kitchen, almost knocking over his father, who was walking in. What's he up to now? Asked Daddy. Oh, the usual, laughed Mama. Chasing a dream. And there's all them at dinner, brothers and sisters, Mommy and Daddy. Later during dinner, Mama noticed that Michael was barely eating anything. He was already daydreaming about being taller. Michael, first things first, you won't grow tall if you don't eat, especially your vegetables, Mama said. But I'm not really hungry, he said. Raising her eyebrows, Mama gave him a stern look. And we all know that look. We're all in quarantine right now, and I'm sure when we're at dinner, Mama's giving you that look. I know my mom's giving me that look right now as I'm staying with them. Slowly, Michael picked up his fork and began to eat. Minutes later, his plate was clean, and he was asking for more. I can definitely relate to that one, Michael. And there's Michael in his room. I think a cool part of this, too, is you see he's got a little measuring tape over there. He already started right there how tall he is. That evening at bedtime, Michael set his favorite game shoes on the floor next to the growth chart hanging on the wall. Then he put his pajamas on and said his prayers and jumped into bed. When Mama came in, Michael was fast asleep. By the look on his face, she could tell he was already playing basketball in his dreams. And there's Mama there, putting salt in his shoes just like she said she would. Standing by his bed, Mama sprinkled salt in his shoes, and she prayed quietly over him as she did all her children. There's Michael there. He's got the basketball in his hands. Dear God, please help Michael be the best he can be and give his best in all that he does. And Lord, could you please make him just a little bit taller tomorrow than he is today? Thank you. Amen. After that night, Michael wore his favorite game shoes everywhere he went, even to church. And he stopped going to the park with his brothers on Saturdays. Instead, he stayed home and practiced. He wanted to grow a few more inches before he went back to the park. And there's Michael practicing, putting in work. So eventually he could get to the NBA, start playing for Chicago Bulls, and become the GOAT. If you don't know what the GOAT is, that's the greatest of all time. But first, he's got to get a little bit taller. After 2 months of practicing and waiting patiently and praying, Michael stood next to the growth chart on his wall. Nothing. He hadn't grown an inch. He was disappointed, but he didn't stop believing. I've just got to give it time, like Mama said, Michael thought to himself, and that's what he did. 2 more months of practicing went by and still nothing. Now Michael was becoming a little sad. Not only had he not grown an inch, but he also missed playing basketball with Larry and Ronnie. About the only thing he didn't miss was being picked on by Mark. When the next Saturday came, his brothers tried to get Michael to go with them to the park, but he wouldn't budge. Mama had begun to worry. When she saw Michael sitting alone on the steps, she said to Daddy, maybe you should go talk to him. There's Mama and Daddy having that discussion. Michael's sitting on the porch. You're going to like this one. So Daddy went out and sat with Michael. What's wrong, son? You haven't gone to the park with your brothers for a while now. Are you okay? Michael didn't say anything at first. Then he looked at Daddy and said, I thought I would at least be a few inches taller by now. I did everything Mama told me to do, but nothing's happened. Michael, why do you want to be taller? Daddy asked. If I were taller, I'd be a great player, and I could help our team win, Michael answered. But you are a great player, son, and you already have everything it takes to be a winner right here. Daddy tapped Michael on his chest. Being taller may help you play a little better, but not as much as practice, determination, and giving your best will. Those are the things that make you a real winner. Michael thought about what Daddy said for a minute, then suddenly he jumped up and took off. He's taking off. He's going. Where's he going? Where are you going? Daddy yelled after him. I got a game today and I'm late, Michael yelled back. And there's Michael at the park. Game already started. When Michael reached the park, the game had already started. He sat on the bench hoping he would get a chance to play, and he did. The game was almost over and the score was tied when John, one of the guys on Michael's team, fell and hurt himself. Those John guys, they get hurt all the time. I don't know what it is about us. Here was Michael's chance. Michael joined his team in the huddle as they gathered on the sideline for a timeout. Okay, the game is tied. All we need is 1 point. Who wants to take the shot? Ronnie asked. He looked in Michael's direction. Feeling more confident than ever, Michael said, I'll do it. When the whistle blew and the game began again, Mark began to pick on Michael as usual. We're not a fan of Mark. I'm not a big Mark fan either. Still trying to play with the big boys, huh? Mark taunted. But Michael paid him no attention. Taller or not, he had been practicing, and today he was determined to win. Larry threw the ball inbounds to Michael. Michael caught it, bounced in for a moment, and then took off running. As he approached Mark, Michael shifted to his right. Mark followed. But while he was still shifting, Michael spun to his left. He stepped behind Mark and shot. The ball arced far above his opponent's hands and fell silently through the hoop. 2 points. The game was over. Michael's team had won. It was just as Michael had dreamed. When he realized what he'd done, Michael took off running and didn't stop until he reached home. There's MJ hitting big shots as a kid before he's going to hit big shots as a player for the Chicago Bulls. Bursting through the door, he shouted, I did it. Daddy, I did it. I shot right over the tall guy's head and we won the game. Running in behind him, Ronnie and Larry joined the celebration. That's right, little brother. You did it. You won the game for us. And there's Michael and his whole family. Michael remembered the look that Ronnie gave him during the last time out of the game and said, no, we won the game, but I was the star. They all laughed. After that day, Mama stopped putting salt in Michael's shoes, but Michael did not stop being patient and working hard and praying. So that must be what made Michael grow to be 6'6" tall basketball superstar. And that is salt in his shoes. But I got a few questions for you before we move on to the next book. Seriously, one of my favorite books. The illustration in this book is amazing too. And the few questions I have for you is, why did Michael's mom put salt in his shoes? So if you have an answer for that question at all, you can put that in the Q&A. And I'm always going to check too and see if there's any questions in here. But the answer to that is obviously she put salt in his shoes because she said it would make him taller. Second question, if you want to answer this, you got the Q&A that's in the middle. At the bottom is, I'm checking the chat here too, making sure I get all these. All right, here we go. Second question for you. Why did Michael not want to go to the park with his brothers? And Michael didn't want to go to the park because he wanted to grow a little bit taller. He thought if he grew a little bit taller, he'd be a little bit better and help his team win. But the final question, what did Michael's dad say that would make him a real winner? Hint, it's not salt in the shoes. It's not growing taller. He said it was practice, determination, and giving your best. So obviously that worked out, and Michael Jordan went down as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. In my opinion, I think he is the greatest basketball player of all time. And then now we're going to move on to one of my favorite books. I think it's been a couple decades since I've read this book. But if you're out there, I know I can't see you. If you've heard of this book, just raise your hand. Just put it up there. I'm not gonna see it, but I can definitely feel that you're putting your hands up. One of my favorite books ever. But before we get into this one, what was your favorite part of the book? My favorite part of the book, I think, is a couple things. I know when Michael listened to his mom. I know constantly we don't want to listen to our parents, especially too that we're at home and quarantine. We're spending a lot of time together, and sometimes we feel like what we have going on is a lot better than what our parents think, or we think that we know more than them. But I think just the obedience that he showed to his mom, I thought that was great. And then especially too when he had that conversation with his dad and found the inspiration to go play with his brothers and find out that everything he needed was right here. He worked really hard, practiced hard, and eventually won the game. So that was great. Thank you for those. If you have any more questions too, you can always put that at the bottom. And then we're going to move on to the rainbow fish. Just look at that too. Look at that. Ooh. It's one of my favorite parts of this book. It's nice and shiny. There we go. There's that rainbow fish. There's some more. Some more of those shiny scales. Here we go. A long way out in the deep blue sea, there lived a fish. Not just an ordinary fish, but the most beautiful fish in the entire ocean. I completely agree. Take a nice look at that again. His scales were every shade of blue, green, and purple, with sparkling silver scales among them. The other fish were amazed at his beauty. They called him Rainbow Fish. Come and play with us. But the rainbow fish just glided past, proud and silent, letting his scales shimmer. One day, a little blue fish followed after him. Rainbow Fish, he called. Wait for me. Please give me one of your shiny scales. They're so wonderful, and you have so many. There's that little blue fish just asking for one. That's it, just one scale. And let's see what the rainbow fish has to say. You want me to give you one of my special scales? Who do you think you are? Cried the rainbow fish. Get away from me. That is definitely not very nice. Shocked, the little blue fish swam away. He was so upset. He told all his friends what had happened. From then on, no one would have anything to do with the rainbow fish. They turned away when he swam by. And there's all those fish. Word got out that rainbow fish looked really good, but wasn't very nice. That is not the best way to gain a lot of friends there, rainbow fish. But here's where things start to turn a little bit. What good were the dazzling, shimmering scales with no one to admire them? Now he was the loneliest fish in the entire ocean. One day he poured out his trouble to the starfish. I really am beautiful. Why doesn't anybody like me? I can't answer that for you, said the starfish. But if you go beyond the coral reef to a deep cave, you'll find the wise octopus. Maybe he can help you. All right, and here is the wise octopus and the rainbow fish. He's got to get some answers. Here we go. Let's see what he has to say. The rainbow fish found the cave. It was very dark inside, and he couldn't see anything. Then suddenly 2 eyes caught him in their glare, and the octopus emerged from the darkness. I've been waiting for you, said the octopus with a deep voice. Oh, excuse me, I got to get my deep voice. I've been waiting for you, said the octopus in a deep voice. The waves have told me your story. This is my advice. Give a glittering scale to each of the other fish. You will no longer be the most beautiful fish in the sea, but you'll discover how to be happy. That is good advice, but that is not a good deep voice. Let's move on. Here's what the rainbow fish had to say about that. I can't, the rainbow fish started to say, but the octopus had already disappeared into the dark cloud of ink. Give away my scales, my beautiful shining scales? Never. How could I ever be happy without them? And there's the rainbow fish, and then there's the little blue fish again. Suddenly he felt the light touch of a fin. The little blue fish was back. Rainbow fish, please don't be angry. I just want one little scale. The rainbow fish wavered. Only one very, very small shimmering scale, he thought. Well, maybe I wouldn't miss just one. So there he is. He's given him that one little scale. Finally listening to the octopus. Let's see if this makes him happy. Carefully, the rainbow fish pulled out the smallest scale and gave it to the little fish. Thank you. Thank you very much, the little blue fish bubbled playfully as he tucked the shiny scale in among his other blue ones. A rather peculiar feeling came over the rainbow fish. For a long time, he watched the little blue fish swim back and forth with his new scale glittering in the water. I think he's starting to feel a little bit of joy. And there's the rainbow fish with all the other fish. They're starting to notice again. The little blue fish whizzed through the ocean with his scale flashing. And so it didn't take long before the rainbow fish was surrounded by the other fish. Everyone wanted a glittering scale. The rainbow fish shared his scales left and right. And the more he gave away, the more delighted he became. When the water around him filled with glimmering scales, when the water around him filled with glimmering scales, he at last felt at home among the other fish. And look at that. Look at all the fish looking good. They got shimmering, glittering scales. And finally, the rainbow fish had only one shiny scale left. His most prized possessions had been given away, yet he was very happy. Come on, rainbow fish, they called. Come and play with us. Here I come, said the rainbow fish. And happy as a splash, he swam off to join his friends. Oh, that's one of my favorite stories. I love it. I think it's another book too where the illustrations are just so fun. I could just look at this cover all day long. And I think we got a question in here too. Hi, I like rainbow fish. Glad he gave his scales to others. Sarah, thank you so much for that. I'm glad he did too. And I think sometimes it's hard for us. Sometimes we have, brothers or sisters at home or friends around, and we're in quarantine and we're like, I still want to hold on to my own stuff. I don't really want to share it, but I think when we share, that's when we find the most joy and happiness, when we get to share those things that we've been blessed with, just like the rainbow fish. But I got a few questions for you too, before I know I see another question in there. Actually, let's do that before I ask you my question. What is your favorite color on the fish? Oh, that's a great question. If I didn't go with the shimmering scale, I really like this purplish red color right there. I like that. I think it pops. I like that. That is my favorite color. Why did the octopus answer the rainbow fish's question if he was being mean? So that's a good question, Connor. So obviously it started with the starfish, and the starfish didn't have the answer for him, but he knew the octopus would, because the octopus was very wise. And sometimes we have some really wise people in our lives too that need to give us some good advice. So the octopus knew wholeheartedly that giving away these scales and providing some joy for other people, it would provide joy and acceptance and ultimate friendship for the rainbow fish with the other fish there. A few other questions I have for you guys for the rainbow fish. At the beginning of the book, why did no one want anything to do with the rainbow fish? So think about that for just a little bit. Why did no one want to be around the rainbow fish? Because at first everybody was looking at the rainbow fish. I'll try to pull up that page too. Everybody loved the rainbow fish. They would always look at him when he went by. But no one wanted to be around the rainbow fish because he didn't give up one of his shimmering scales. He was very mean to the little blue fish that wanted just one little scale. He had so much, but he wouldn't give up one. And then what was the octopus's advice? I kind of already answered that one. But the answer to that was obviously give a sparkling scale to every fish and you'll discover what happiness really looks like. So that's seriously one of my favorite books right there. It's so fun. I think we're all blessed with so many great things, even though it's a really tough time for us right now. Just like I was saying earlier, whoever you're quarantined with, we're all blessed with a lot of great abilities and great things. And if we share that with others, I think that's when we're going to find some happiness and a lot of fulfillment. So, man, we are finally moving on to our third and final book. I'm going to get my Dr. Seuss on right now, Cat in the Hat. And I had to leave this one to be last because it's got rhymes. So sometimes when I say the end of a sentence or say the end of a line, the next line or lines after that are going to sound pretty similar. It's got a rhyme to it, just like cat and hat. So I need to say this for last because it's kind of got like a little different flow to it. I was reading these the other day, and obviously those first two books we read, they don't rhyme at all. So here we go. Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss. The sun did not shine. It was too wet to play. So we sat in the house all that cold, cold, wet day. I know a lot of us are very used to sitting in the house a lot of these days because of quarantine and everything that's going on. So we feel a lot like these kiddos. I sat there with Sally. We sat there, we two, and I said, how I wish we had something to do. Too wet to go out, too cold to play ball. So we sat in the house. We did nothing at all. I know some of you might be able to relate to that too. Sometimes I'm sitting in the house and I'm like, I don't know what to do. This quarantine, I don't know what to do. Some days we have these overcast days, might be raining or something like that. So let's see what they do. So all we could do was sit, 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 sit. And we did not like it, not one bit. There they are, looking out the window, not liking that one bit. They want something to do. Uh-oh, bump. And then something went bump. How was that bump? Oh, it made us jump. And look at them. They're like wondering what's coming through the door. We looked and we saw him step in on the mat. We looked and we saw him, the cat in the hat. And he said to us, "Why do you sit there like that? I know it is and the sun is not sunny, but we can have lots of good fun. That is funny." "I know some good games we could play," said the cat. "I know some new tricks," said the cat in the hat. "A lot of good tricks. I will show them to you. Your mother will not mind at all if I do." Then Sally and I did not know what to say. Our mother was out of the house for the day. I have a feeling they might be getting in a little bit of trouble with this cat in the hat. But our fish said, "No, no, make the cat go away. Tell that cat in the hat you do not want to play. He should not be here. He should not be about. He should not be here when your mother is out." That is some very good advice from the fish. Now, have no fear. Have no fear," said the cat. "My tricks are not bad," said the cat in the hat. "Lots of good fun, if you wish, with a game that I call Up, Up, Up with the Fish." "Put me down," said the fish. "This is no fun at all." "Put me down," said the fish. "I do not wish to fall." "Have no fear," said the cat. "I will not let you fall. I will hold you up high as I stand on a ball. With a book on one hand and a cup on my hat, but that is not all I can do," said the cat. Look at that. On a ball with a book. Look at me. Look at me now," said the cat. "With a cup and a cake on the top of his hat, I can hold up 2 books. I can hold up the fish and a little toy ship and some milk on a dish. And look, I can hop up and down on the ball. But that's not all. Oh no, that's not all." Look at me. Look at me. Look at me now. It is fun to have fun, but you have to know how. I can hold up the cup and the milk and the cake. I can hold up these books and the fish on a rake. I can hold up the toy ship and a little toy man. And look with my tail, I can hold a little red fan. I can fan with the fan as I hop on the ball, but that's not all. Oh no, that's not all. That is a lot. I don't know what else this cat can do. He probably can't do much more, but uh-oh. That is what the cat said. And then he fell on his head. He came down with a bump from up there on the ball, and Sally and I, we saw all the things fall. Uh-oh, that's not good. And our fish came down too. He fell into a pot. He said, "Do I like this? Oh no, I do not." "This is not a good game," said our fish as he lit. "No, I don't like it. Not one little bit." That fish was right. He didn't think it was a good idea. "Now look what you did," said the fish to the cat. "Now look at this house. Look at this. Look at that. You sank our toy ship. You sank it deep in the cake. You shook up our house, and you bent up the new rake. You should not be here when our mother is out. You get out of this house," said the fish in the pot. Look at that ship in the cake and the bent rake. The cat is wreaking some havoc around the house. "But I like to be here. Oh, I like it a lot," said the cat in the hat. "To the fish in the pot, I will not go away. I do not wish to go. I do not wish to go." And so the cat in the hat, so. I will show you another good game that I know. And then he ran out, and then fast as a fox, the cat in the hat came back with a box. A big red wood box. It was shut with a hook. "Now look at this trick," said the cat. "Take a look." Oh, we're about to find out what's in the box. Then he got us up on top. Then he got up on top with the tip of his hat. He called this game Fun in a Box. In this box are two things I will show you now. You will take these two things, said the cat with a bow. I will pick up the hook and you'll see something new. Two things, I call them. Thing one and thing two. These things will not bite you. They want to have fun. Then out of the box came thing two and thing one. And they ran to us fast. They said, how do you do? Would you like to shake hands with thing one and thing two? And Sally and I did not know what to do. So we had to shake hands with thing one and thing two. We shook their two hands, but our fish said, no, no. These things should not be in the house. Make them go. They should not be here when your mother is not. Put them out, said the fish in the pot. I'll tell you what, I miss meeting new people and shaking hands. I can't wait. If I had to see a thing one and thing two right now, unfortunately, we couldn't shake their hands. But Sally and him did. Let's see what's about to happen. Have no fear, little fish, said the cat in the hat. These things are good things. He gave them a pat. They are tame, oh so tame. They have come here to play. They will give you some fun on this wet, wet, wet day. Now here's a game that they like, said the cat. They like to fly kites, said the cat in the hat. No, not in the house, said the fish in the pot. They should not fly kites in a house. They should not. Oh, the things they will bump. Oh, the things they will hit. Oh, I did not like it. Not one little bit. And Sally and I saw them running down the hall. We saw these two things bump their kites on the wall. Bump, thump, thump, bump. Down the wall in the hall. Uh-oh, that doesn't look very good. They're starting to get this place really messy. Thing two and thing one. They ran up, they ran down. On the string of one kite, we saw Mother's new gown. Her gown with the dots that are pink, white, and red. Then we saw one kite bump on the head of the bed. Then those things ran about with big bumps, jumps, and kicks. And with hops and big thumps, all the kids have bad tricks. And I said, I do not like the way they play. If Mother could see this, oh, what she'd say. That looks like a crazy game with thing one and thing two. Then our fish said, look, look. And our fish shook with fear. Your mother is on her way home. Do you hear? Oh, what will she do to us? What will she say? Oh, she will not like it to find us this way. Uh-oh, Mom's coming home. So do something fast, said the fish. Do you hear? I saw her, your mother. Your mother is near. So as fast as you can, think of something to do. We will have to get rid of thing one and thing two. So as fast as I could, I went after the net and said, with my net, I can get them, I bet. I bet with my net, I can get those things yet. So there he is. He's trying to get thing one and thing two. Mom's coming home. And then I let down my net. It came down with a plop. And I had them at last. Those two things had to stop. Then I said to the cat, now you do as I say. You pack up those things and you take them away. Oh dear, said the cat. You do not like our game. Oh dear, what a shame. What a shame, what a shame. Oh, that's a sad cat. Then he shut up the things in the box with a hook, and the cat went away with a sad kind of look. I think the cat in the hat just wanted to have some fun. That is good, said the fish. He has gone away, yes, but your mother will come. She will find a big mess. And this mess is so big and so deep and so tall, we cannot pick it up. Oh, there's no way at all. That is a big, big mess for them to clean up. I don't know how they're going to be able to do it. We're about to find out right now. Oh, and then, who was back in the house? Why, the cat. Have no fear of this mess, said the cat in the hat. I will always pick up my playthings. And so I will show you another good trick that I know. Then we saw him pick up all the things that were down. He picked up the cake, the rake and the gown, and the milk and the strings, and the books and the dish, and then a fan and the cup, and a ship and the fish. And he put them away. Then he said, that is that. And then he was gone with the tip of his hat. But look at that, created a big mess. And then I don't know what kind of cleanup thing that is. I need to get one of those. My room's getting pretty messy lately. I could use the cat in the hat for that. Then our mother came in and she said to us two, did you have any fun? Tell me, what did you do? And Sally and I did not know what to say. Should we tell her the things that went on there that day? Should we tell her about it? Now, what should we do? Well, what would you do if your mother asked you? And that is The Cat in the Hat, one of my favorite books. And I really don't know what I would tell my mom. I'm going to ask you that too, like what you would tell your mom if she came home after a crazy day like that. Here's my first question for you before we get into that. Why did the fish say the cat in the hat should not be in their house? I'm going to check the Q&A, see before we get there. Because mom wasn't home. Connor, that is the correct answer. Good job. And because he keeps a mess. Yeah, Zofia and Allie, yeah. The fish knew that the cat should not be in the house. First off, because mom was away. Second, because the cat created a huge, huge mess. And why did the cat come back the third time? So obviously, the first time created a little bit of mess. Second time came back with thing one and thing two. But the third time, when they told the cat in the hat to leave, why did it come back? Sophia and Allie, to clean up. That's the right answer. There you go. He came to clean up his mess. So he just wanted to have some fun. But it wouldn't be fun if mom came home and saw that mess. But here comes the question for you. What would you do if mother asked you what you did that day? I know for me, probably as a kid, I probably would be really hesitant to tell my mom what happened that day, because mostly our parents can be like, you got to make sure you stay inside, don't get wet, don't get anything in the house to make it dirty or anything like that. So I don't know. I think I would, for me, might not be the right thing to do, but I think I would wait a little while before I told my mom actually what happened. Zofia and Allie said, blame it on the cat in the hat. That's not a bad idea. But also the cat in the hat did help clean up. So it kind of looked like nothing happened. And then my daughter wants you to read Green Eggs and Ham next time. Oh, I'd love to read Green Eggs and Ham. That is another one of my favorite books. Dr. Seuss is amazing. Why was the cat in the hat letting the things make a mess? That's a good question, Taylor. I think the cat in the hat didn't realize that messes were that big of a deal. I know sometimes when I was younger, my room would get so messy. It would get crazy messy, and I thought it was like organized chaos. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And then even now, sometimes my room's a little bit of a mess, or leave the house a little bit of a mess, and you're like, oh, it's not that big a deal. But sometimes with our parents, we got to keep it nice, clean up after ourselves, and make sure it looks really good. So I think the cat just didn't realize that making a mess wasn't technically the best thing to do. Do you wish you had a thing one and thing two? I think I would love to have a thing one or thing two. That would be so fun to me. I would love that. I think it would be really fun nowadays because I would know how to clean up and have a good time. But there would also be a part of me that'd be like, oh, I really hope I have a cat in the hat along with a thing one and thing two that can help me clean up. Did you and your brother ever make that big of a mess? That's a very good question, Sam. My brother and I definitely made big messes. We also have a sister, and she was way more organized than we were. So she didn't really make the house a mess at all. My brother and I were the troublemakers. We were like the thing one and thing two. We were John and Nick, thing one and thing two that messed things up. And I guess we would call my sister the cat in the hat in the sense that she would help clean things up. Claire wants to know if you've seen the movie. I'm going to be honest, I actually haven't seen the movie. When I found out that I was going to be able to read this book, I was going to try to watch the movie last night, and I haven't seen it yet. So, Claire, if you've seen the movie, please let me know how fun it is and if I should watch it, because I think I should watch it, but I need a little bit of a push to let me know if I should watch it. But we're going to start wrapping this up here too. So if you have any more questions at all, appreciate you guys jumping in, asking some of these questions, reading some of these books. Once again, too, the books that we read today are Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss, one of my favorite books. And yeah, I see your question in there. The Rainbow Fish and Salt in His Shoes. What is my favorite book? So my favorite book is The Phantom Toll Booth. It's kind of like a children's longer story. So it's probably like a little over 100 pages or so. So you look that up, and kind of maybe like a young adult book. And I love it. That's my favorite book ever. It's got a really fun story. And then Sarah says you should watch the movie, and she wants you to read The Lorax next time. So Green Eggs and Ham and Lorax next time. So next time we do that, there would be a lot of fun. But I love doing this for the first time too. It was fun reading with you. And remember, reading is so important. It's a huge part of your development. I know I try to read at least one book a month. I have my 2020 goals on the wall. You don't see those here. Those are closer to my door, but I try to read one book a month because I know how good it is for me. But thank you, John. Girls love this. Love you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. A few more things before I'll let you go. Huge shout out to Kaiser Permanente for presenting this virtual Read to Achieve. They're proud to support this virtual experience we just had. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. A huge shout out to Ring Central. This wouldn't be possible without them. And a few more things for you kiddos out there. Mavericks Kids Corner on the website at santacruzbasketball.com has some amazing things for you. There's some math worksheets, reading worksheets, coloring pages, and some physical activity games. Because I know I was just working out before this. We're all stuck at home. We're trying to figure out, just like Sally and her brother in the Cat in the Hat, oh, what are we going to do? Sometimes we have some rainy days. We're not able to go out and hang out with our friends or go to school or do things like that. We got to try to get creative at home, but we also got to make sure we got some physical activity. So that is at santacruzbasketball.com at Mavericks Kids Corner. So make sure you check that out. And remember, stay healthy, stay safe. Make sure you're washing your hands for at least 20 seconds, really scrubbing those hands. Stay indoors. Make sure that you're staying socially distant from everybody, because we want to make sure that you stay healthy, and we want to see you at Santa Cruz basketball games and kids club events very, very soon. And remember, practice, determination, and giving your best, just like Michael Jordan did. That was his advice from his dad. So keep doing that. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you guys. And we might be doing this again. So hopefully see you guys very, very soon. Thank you again so much. Have a great day, guys. See you soon.